You are looking live at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which fell 130 points or 0.82% on Friday. It closed at 15,775. You can see the volume was a little lighter on an options expiration Friday, which is a little rare. On the weekly chart, though, it lost 1.34% last week, fell 215 points. You can expect your growth stocks, in the Nasdaq falls 1.3%. You can expect your growth stocks to be down 3 to 5%. And a lot of them were, and a lot of our leading stocks traded, a little higher or flat last week. But anyway, it broke a 5-week winning streak. As you could see, it bounced off its 10-week line there. And then ran after the lows from October. It had a 9-week run, pulled back, had another 5-week run, and we'd call this backing and filling, I guess, consolidating, digesting the gains. So 1 week is not going to hurt us. If you believe in seasonality, which I do, the last couple weeks of February are usually pretty weak. So if we get some sideways action, that's just fine. And like I said, it was up 14 of the last 16 weeks. So the rally looks fine. The power trend looks fine. It's being supported by the moving averages. A trip to the 21 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You could see the 50, the 21, and the 10 are just trending higher. So this is a nice market. We've done well in this market. I'm going to move on. I want to keep the videos a little shorter today. Apple computers. I'm going to go through. It's just Apple now, not Apple computers. But anyway, Warren Buffett was selling some of this stock. This chart looks terrible. It's below the 200 now. Some of the consumers were saying that their Vision Pro headsets were making them dizzy and feeling nauseous and giving them headaches, and they were returning them. So not good news for Apple this week, especially with Mr. Buffett selling the stock. And that looks like an avoid to me. Microsoft, it fell below its 21 on Friday. Actually, it closed right at it, 404.25, just a tick beneath it. But let's just see you next week and see if it'll find support there and get a little bit of a bounce. Microsoft is one of your artificial intelligence leaders. Obviously, had this big consolidation period and a flat base, and it's run higher from that 384 area. Microsoft looks pretty good. The NVIDIA earnings report may have an impact on these stocks. I would think they would. Meta Platforms, one of the stronger of these Mag 6 or Super 6 or Fab 5, whatever you want to call them, just formed this little shelf here and broke away from it. It's still trading, uh, gosh, 2.4% above its 10 and 8% above the 21. So this is definitely a strong stock. Meta Platforms, just allowing the moving averages to catch up, forming that shelf type pattern. Amazon's doing the same thing, just forming a little shelf here. This one's a little weaker than Meta. The 10 is caught up. It's 0.3% above the 10, 2.6 above the just 21 here, the magenta line. So Amazon looks good as well. Google, not so much. Google undercut the 50 on Friday, so that doesn't look good. So Google and Apple, not so good. Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta Platforms look pretty good. And then NVIDIA, they report on Wednesday, the 21st. So it's going to have an impact on the artificial intelligence stocks. This one broke out from that 505 here on January 9th, I believe, or 8th, and has been running hard ever since, trending above its 10. So we just have to see what they say on Wednesday. And I guess I'll go to Tesla. I just wanted to point out Tesla. It looks like it bottomed here, maybe that 175, and now it's trying to tick up. Has a lot of work to do below those moving averages. Anyway, I'm going to get to the elephant in the room, the stock everybody's talking about. It's trending on Twitter. I was able to trade this thing really, really well last year. When it ran, we had the stock in the 50s. It ran from 90 to 357. I was able to sell around 330 or 350, which was pretty rare for me. Usually I screw these things up. But then I did hold a small position when it fell on earnings. It fell, nearly 24% on August 9th. So for it to be down 19.9%, that's kind of in its character. What's not in its character is is this breakout from the 357, which I caught 357, rode it to 1,028. I sold on Friday morning. I just put a market order in. I wanted out because I could kind of tell this thing was gonna, as John Cougar Mellencamp sings, the walls are crumbling down on this one. And you could see it happened quickly there on this 5-minute chart. And there was just sellers the rest of the day. I know, some people were bragging that they bought puts at 1,000, so congratulations to you. This one was trading. A lot of people were asking me on Wednesday if that was an exhaustion gap, time to get out. I'm saying, yeah, that looks like an exhaustion gap to me. It's its greatest move, up at nearly $90, and it had been up from 357, and it made a high there on Wednesday of 886. So if you sold that day, that's fine. It gapped up from that 800 number. So 800 to 886, that's a heck of a day, right? And then it gapped up again on Thursday, thanks to Bank of America and their note that came out with the price target of 1,040, I believe, and it ran 123 points. So that was its highest gain, its greatest gaining day. And we noticed that it was 135% above its 50. And anytime a stock gets 100% above the 50, it's adios muchachos. So we kind of knew where this one was going. But like I said, it opened and then it went up, and then I sold at 1027 and went up to like 1,027, 1,077. So I'm going, I'm an idiot. I just lost $50. But immediately it came down. So I didn't feel like an idiot for too long. And we kind of knew this one was going to come down a little bit, although now that it did not close that gap there at 800. Somebody has a sense of humor because it came down to 801 and 15 cents. So I'm sure that'll close that gap. I want to break out the moving average here on SMCI. I'm going to take a few minutes on this stock because it is a model book stock here. And it's a bull market, and people are asking me, I need to find another SMCI. Don't worry, there's going to be more stocks that are going to have big runs. Maybe not like this one, but there will be in this bull market. I know that some people are saying the sector's done, it's over, sell everything. That's not necessarily the case. I think the index is just taking a break, and we're going to have more breakouts like this. We're in the early innings of a new bull market. I had noticed and identified for the folks at MC Stock Charts that it had been surfing this 5 EMA for a long, long time, since the breakout on the 19th. And it got a little bit away from it here in the last couple of days, but on Friday it sliced it. And so I know, a lot of people thinking that it's going to be really easy. It's going to go down back to 357 where it broke out from. I would not count on that at all. Just the history of this stock, it's going to confound the best of the best. It's a really hard thing to trade. I tried to trade it in here in this chop fest and got chopped up and lost money. And so I just said, I'm going to wait for the breakout. And I did at 357, but now it's probably just going to go sideways. Nobody knows where it's going to go, but I wouldn't be short. I wouldn't be long. I'm just going to watch it, just observe it. It did sell off Friday on its largest daily volume, but this, I got to go to the weekly. This, okay, it was a 60 billion market cap stock. With the sell-off on Friday, it's now, below 45 billion. The CEO said they could do up to 25 billion in revenues. They guided at 15, so they have more room to raise guidance and crush their earnings, and I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. I don't know how the stock's going to respond, but it is now a 45 billion market cap with 15, 20 billion in revenue, so it's not an expensive stock. Got 46 million shares in the float, and I believe, what did it trade last week? 110. So it's trading, it's trading more than twice the float in a week. So yeah, this is a liquid stock, big cash flow, big return on equity. So this is a liquid beast, and like I said, I wouldn't be long or short this thing right now after that move. Maybe it'll flag, around 800, just gonna wait and see. Normally when a stock, has a climax blow off top like that, it just comes back down to earth. I'm not sure this one's gonna do that. I know a lot of shorts are emboldened now, and it's gonna come back to that 357 breakout, and it might. but it might not. And I don't think it's going to be an easy trade. That's all I'm saying. All right, that's enough of SMCI. I do like the semiconductors and software names right now. There's some Bitcoin names that are doing well. And AMD is certainly one of these names that's going to be impacted by the NVIDIA report on Wednesday after the market closes. This thing just pulled back to its 10 on Friday. It looks good. As long as it respects these moving averages, it's going to trade higher. As long as the averages are going higher, it's going to trade higher, as long as it's supported by the moving averages. So that's one thing to watch. AVGO, another one of these semiconductor fabulous stocks that are just, had this ascending base pattern, and it's just respecting its moving averages. Pulled back last week with the index. You got to figure that it's a weekly review. It was down 3% with the index down 1.3%. That's about normal. Just had an inside week, quiet. Broadcom looks fantastic. The ones that really did well, first of all, I got to go to MRVL because this one's bugging me. This one has a fantastic looking chart. Somebody asked me if it was a laggard. Yes, it's a laggard compared to NVIDIA, AMD, and Broadcom. This is a total laggard, but it's in a strong group and it's trying to break out of this long period of consolidation. It's just taken its sweet time, down nearly 4% last week, which is, kind of typical. But for me, it sliced at 21. I don't like that. So Marvell, it's adios for you. It'll probably pull back to the 50, then ramp up to $100 or something. But I'm not going to play Marvell right now. It's acting like a laggard. Applied Materials, this is the Semiconductor Equipment Group, which is the 9th-ranked group. So it's a very strong industry group. Gapped higher on earnings, was up more than 6%. So congrats to the longs there. That's a nice move. Lam Research had a strong move on this is in the equipment space as well. Just piggybacked on the Applied Materials earnings report. They traded in concert. KLAC, makes a new high. We like new highs. KLAC made a new high and was up, nearly 2% last week, with the Nasdaq having a down week. So that one's showing strength as well. That's enough for the semiconductor names. I've got to get to the drugs. Lilly is in one of the top performing drug groups. The medical diversified group, I think, is a 2 or 3 top performing groups in 2024, and it's just been since the breakout, it's just been rallying off the 5. If I go back to the 5 again, this is why I do use the 5. When I show charts on Twitter, I just use the 10, but it's just surfing along the 5 here, and that's what you want from leading stocks. Novo Nordisk, same thing, just coming down to the 5, down to the 5. So those are areas where you can get in if you want to get in. So that's what I use that for. Anyway, I'm going to switch it back to the 10 there. Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. Those weight loss drugs were consolidating when the index broke out there in late October, November, December. And then since 2024 hit, these things have been ramping. So they look good. Viking, VKTX is the ticker symbol. This thing has been ramping as well. Big volume move here on Friday, up nearly 14%. This is a buyout target in the weight loss category here, and it broke above what I would consider, to be, a little breakout area there around $26, and has not stopped since that little breakout there last week. It ran hard and then was up 18% this week. So, we like moves that are, 30% last week and then 18% this week. So Viking is making a big move. And they're going to have a readout here. The CEO said before March 31st or whatever, in the first quarter, which is only 5 or 6 weeks left in the, I guess 6 weeks left in this first quarter. So in the next 6 weeks, they're going to have news, and I like their chances. That's all I'm going to say about Viking. Okay, I'm going to go to the software names. Giga Cloud Technology. This one, I listened to their conference call, and that's when I bought the stock. I really was impressed with what they had to say. I didn't really care if it wasn't in a base or whatever. It's just surfing its moving averages as well. This is the 10 here. This thing trades funny because it'll sell off in the morning and then buyers come in. I might have to go to the 10. It sells off in the morning. Every morning it dips, and then buyers come in, and it closes strong. You can see again on Friday. Here's your dip, and then it ramps up. And Thursday, there's your dip, and it ramps up, and it just dips down, and then buyers come in, dip, and rip. So I like stocks that close strong. Giga Cloud has just been a monster. I think in the last year it's up more than 300%. Definitely one to take note of. They have strong earnings and sales growth. So that's enough of that one. Monday reported last Monday, had a kind of a negative reaction, I guess you'd say. Just a buy the rumor, sell the news type of reaction. Came down to nearly its 50. This is the Monday report, I believe. It was down 10% and then rallied back above the rest of the week on lighter volume, but above average daily volume. And just every day just kept, there's a couple of hammer candles in here where it closed 98% of the daily range. So yeah, very nice moves here from Monday. Stocks that are trading at their highs going into earnings report, there's going to be some profit takers in there. Doesn't mean the report was bad or anything. It's just people want out. They achieved their goal, the target was hit, and they just get out. So nothing wrong with Monday. It looks pretty darn good to me. Snowflake looks pretty good as well. They report on the 28th, just surfing its moving averages. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Snowflake. Datadog reported Tuesday, I believe, Tuesday morning, and they had a similar reaction to Monday. So Monday and Tuesday, we got these software stocks trading down to their 50 and then bouncing back up. This thing was like 115 in pre-market and then ran up to 138. So that was a pretty wild day that day. And just traded down to the 21 on Friday. Weakness with the the Nasdaq being down. This was down nearly 4%, with the Nasdaq down 1.3%. That's pretty normal for your growth stock. So nothing wrong with Datadog. I know I had a lot of questions about Datadog. It looks fine to me. Elastic, they reported the 29th. You could see, this is a serial gapper stock. It gapped here on September 1st with big volume, 20% move. Then December 1st, 37% with big volume. Now it would be March 1st, but it's leap year, so they're going to report on the 29th. And yeah, it's way above its moving averages here. Yeah, 5.6% above the 21. So we'll just have to see if it's going to gap again. I'd like to see it out of this base here at 118. Maybe it'll come down this week to 118 and provide a little lift off for an earnings report. We're gonna have to wait and see on Elastic. Anyway, some retail names. I love the retail, and I talked about SMCI, which was so hot, 135% above the 50 on Thursday. This one's 24%. It's 100% above the 200, but it's just been grinding higher. I mean, it's been more than a two-bagger since we put it on our leading stock list, way more than a two-bagger. And it's just trading, right off that 10, pull back to the 21 a couple of times during this rally, but this thing looks like ELF in 2023. What a move by Abercrombie and Fitch. Congratulations to the longs. The Celsius is one that I had put on our ready list because it broke above its downtrending line. But to me, I think it's still actionable. It's moved quite a bit from that 55 area. 62.99, still an area of interest there. Traded above it on Friday, but yeah, this is a strong stock. They report on March 7th. Pretty sure they're going to report pretty strong sales and earnings growth. Celsius is growing like a weed. I mentioned ELF earlier. It's a weekly review, so I got to look at the weekly chart of ELF. Pretty consistent winner here with ELF. It made this base, then broke out, then ran, traded sideways. This is a bear market, actually. It broke out, traded sideways, then ran. Broke out here on earnings report, flat shellfish for 6 or 8 weeks, ran up again, made a little shelf, and just ran all of 2020. The end of 2022 and most of 2023. The end of last year, it formed this base here, about a 14-week Cut pattern, had a 3 weeks tight, pulled back to shake some folks out, now just trading higher. If you look at the daily chart, we can see that it's just being supported by its moving averages, and surfing it's 21 here. So as long as those moving averages are rising and you own the stock, you're going to be making money. Just be patient with it. This is one that it's like NVO. I don't even really look at it, bother with it. I believe it's going to 200, and then we'll see what happens there. Just massive, real strong sales and earnings growth. These guys are king of TikTok. I think they got about 1.4 million followers on TikTok, and definitely selling well and taking market share and mind share. Great stock. Elf, what else did I have? Oh, Wingstop. Yeah, the restaurant stock's doing really well. Not only Chipotle, but this is a Wingstop. You can see this big consolidation. This is why I like buying after this long consolidation period. I'd like to see them trading tight within the base here like it did. Now it moves higher, pulls back to the 21, just finding support there. Made an all-time high on Friday, so that looks great. Look at that base there, and then the move higher. So congrats to the longs there. Texas Roadhouse is another one. You can see on the weekly chart, big base, pull back to the 50, and then made a new high on Friday. Let's see what that looks like on the daily. There you go. There's a breakout. The first pullback to the 50 after the breakout of a base is usually a gift, in an uptrending market. Like I said, I believe we're in the early innings of a new bull market, and maybe middle innings, but still, we got ways to go. And this one blasted higher with volume on Friday, 10% move. Thank you very much. Congrats to the longs. And I'm going to stop right there. That's it for me. Monday's a holiday. President's Day, we'll celebrate. George Washington cannot tell a lie. Did not chop down the cherry tree. But anyway, Monday will be closed. Tuesday we'll be back. And I lie because in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing, and that's IOVA. Quietly, very quietly after the close on Friday, they announced they had an NDA, a new drug application with the FDA that was approved for treating cancer, which to me seems like a pretty big deal. But I was looking at it, it was only trading like 990, 995. So I said, I'm going to put in a little limit order. And by the time I got my limit order and it was trading over 10, so I put it in at about 1020, and it got it triggered at 1014. So I got in at 1014. I just watched it after hours, just kept climbing and climbing and climbing. I don't know what it's going to do on Tuesday or next week, but it's up 32% in after hours action. This is a company, a biotech company with more drugs in the pipeline too, and you can see it's just breaking out from this long period of consolidation here. This is a stage one. This is why I was interested around the nines, because that 936 there, nice cup with handle, and now breaking higher. This thing was a $50 stock not all that long ago, so we'll see what happens with Iovance Biotherapeutics next week. This is a group that's really, showing a lot of strength. I showed you Viking earlier. I could show quite a few others that are doing well, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stop right there. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Check us out. We have been doing really, really well. Thank you for watching. Never give up.